Shalom, shalom. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom, shalom.
Okay, I see it. Hear the sound and all. I might have to do this quick before my phone start acting hot. Okay, first and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. A double honors to the elder apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well through the Spirit. A mighty shalom to the hopeful elect in the same Spirit, teaching His word and believing His word. Lord, willing that they all continue to endure and be sincere in sound doctrine and in the same Spirit. Shalom to the Akwath, believers of His faith and His truth. Lord, willing that you continue to pursue your lot, being a loving and silent and virtuous wife. Lord, willing the most have mercy on the other brothers and sisters that's not in the faith. Today we dealing with this topic because somebody comment on one of my videos, and I guess they don't agree with agree with the 2/3 coming back in the kingdom. So what he said is, let me see, because the video was going into the title says the righteous are happy in their death in troubles, but the wicked are not. And the brother said, lovely video, my brother. Only thing I don't agree with was the part where you mentioned people being regenerated into the kingdom. I don't see that nowhere in the scriptures. Now, when I was going to church or wherever I was, he says the name Yahweh Yahweh Shai from what I saw. I didn't know none of this either. I had to be taught. I had to go through read through the scriptures my dang self to see if it was so, right? And it was making sense because Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is a merciful power, right? Especially what deals with the promise. So his last comment, which is right here, 5 hours ago, he said, may I ask though, if at the resurrection, when the books are open in Revelations 2 and 12, the 2/3 have their books open being contained with sin, how do they then inherit the kingdom? And is it after they have been put into the lake of fire and essentially killed that they come back into the kingdom? And is it the same for the other nations being regenerated after the lake of fire to be slaves? Now, let's see what he's talking about right here. Let me see if this is it. He put Revelations 2 and 12, and it says, into the angel of the church and the Pergamos wrote, an angel mean messenger, a representative of this church, wrote these things, saith he which have the sharp sword with two edges. Now, the brother put Revelations 2 and 12. 2 and 12 is not talking about um, that, right? Let me see. Verse 11, he that have an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. He that overcometh shall not be hurt of the second death. Now, verse 11, if we talk about the second death, right, that's coming into the nuke time, right? The nukes, which all Israelites come back to the earth, right? In regeneration. Like on this side, we're not going to only say regeneration on this side and not in the kingdom, right? Because as soon as you get in the kingdom, you're going to have your glorified body. I believe it's Second Ezra, the 14th chapter, verse 35. It says, for after death shall the judgment come, right? You go into the spirit world to the Heavenly Father, right? When we live again, right? You go to the Heavenly Father, and then He brings you right back on the earth, right? That's Ecclesiastes 12:7, right? The flesh goes into the, is consumed in the earth, back to the earth, and the spirit goes back. The spirit goes to the Father, to Him that created the spirit, right? So your judgment is in the earth, right? I'm gonna go back to Second Esdras 14, but let's go to Ecclesiastes, the third chapter, right? Ecclesiastes, the third chapter, verse 16. It says, "Moreover, I saw under the sun the place of judgment, that wickedness was there, and the place of righteousness, that iniquity was there." Right? So hell, or the hell is a lower state. The grave can be in the earth, or it could be a lower state, like Revelation the 11th chapter, right? For after death shall the judgment come, right? We go right in we go to the spirit world, to the Father. When we shall live again, then we come back to the earth again between the third and fourth generation, or however it seemed fit, with the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shem Shai. And then shall the names of the righteous be manifest. Now, of course, the righteous is really speaking about the elect. They're being edified and growing, but to be manifest means to be revealed. The elect is going to be revealed even more in Jacob's trouble. Second Ezra 16th chapter. In that day, the world is going to know who my chosen is. They're going to know the nation of Israel, but people are going to know that those that really fear Yahweh Shema Shai, that was serious for this faith, that's not going to yield to the system or to the charagma, that's teaching this word, being a witness of the word of Yahweh Shema Shai, like, they're going to be revealed as being the chosen, let alone when Yahweh Shai come and beam them up. The world is going to know who the elect is, because they're going to be revealed, manifest, right? It says, and the works of the ungodly shall be declared, right? When we talking about ungodly in the nation of Israel, 2/3, and you other nations starting with Esau, because what's going to be declared? That MOTB. We're going to know who the Edomites is, right? And if you got some knowledge, you're going to know the so-called white man and woman, or the YT man, is the Edomites that the Bible is speaking of, because they took the image of Yahweh Shai, and the name they couldn't even say. So they created a new name and used it on Caesar Borgia, and that became a famous name throughout the whole earth. And how else can we notify who the YT, the dang white man, is, by them saying that they're the Jews? And they don't even speak about the Northern Kingdom, right? It's the so-called Caucasian race that's calling themselves Jews, right? And we could keep on going, because who was the nation that said that they were the first ones to make a space station, which now they call themselves Europeans, right? After, when Rome fell, they wanted to grow up new names. I got the book Babylon and Timbuktu, because before the Europeans got in power, right, all the whole world, from Rome all the way back to ancient Egypt, everybody went by a tribal or a nation or a nationality instead of a color. And that was just to bring in that the deception, a lie, and to cover up the truth. But it was really all by Yahweh Shem Shai, because the elect was going to seek diligently, right, and decipher, right, in the actions of the wicked. They're going to show themselves, right? So where was I? Okay, so yeah, like I was showing, the when you die, you go up to the Father, and you come back, and you in your judgment. Right now, I'm gonna go to a few verses. Let me make sure. Okay, I got it in my stash. So when we look at Zechariah the 13th chapter, we might go to it later on. Zechariah 13 verse 8 to 9, that the two parts, or the 2/3, is going to perish, and the third is going to be left, which is the 1/3, and they're going to be refined. Those are the elect. So who perish in judgment will eventually be restored through mercy, because that's the whole point of mercy. Romans 11:26, all Israel shall be saved. On this side is going to be all the 12 tribes as the elect. But in the kingdom, because I don't know, a lot of people don't believe we're going to have sex in the kingdom. You're going to have marriage. Brothers is going to have wives because women are going to outnumber men, right? So we see in Isaiah and many other scriptures that it's going to be one child should become 1,000. How is that? Through sex. So the same thing that happened on the under the sun before we got the kingdom is going to happen again. But only thing, when these children come out the womb, they're going to already have a glorified body, a new mind, a new spirit. They're going to be afresh, and they're going to know what they have done, because we're going to go to other verses to show the contempt and the shame that they're going to have, because they're going to be in the knowing. When you go to Ecclesiastes 1, the Lord take away your memory of knowing who you are. That's the difference of what's going to happen in the kingdom. Now, I'm going to say this question, Lord willing, somebody that's truly of the faith or coming in the faith that don't know, this is the question. When Yahweh Shai said, who the world calls Jesus, the least in the kingdom is going to be greater than John. Who is the least? IUIC said that's the 2/3, which the 2/3, because they're not going to make it. They're going to down inside. Technically, they're right about them dying, but IUIC teach that they're going to burn forever, and the other nations going to come back and they're going to serve. That don't make any sense. How the other nations going to come back? The Lord going to have mercy on them, but the 2/3 going to burn forever? Make it make sense. Hell no. The 2/3, they're not going to make it through the first resurrection on this side, right? That's the main. You want to make it on the first resurrection. The 2/3 not. And they're going to be the least in the kingdom. So they're still going to be over the nations. They're going to have a least role, right? But they're going to still be greater than what John was when he was on the earth, right? But after that 1,000 years of the kingdom rulership under Yahweh Shai and 144,000, they won't be part of the first resurrection, right? Which is the like what we read in Revelations 2 and 11. Only the elect is not gonna get touched by that second death. The 2/3 is. So when we go into like Revelations 20, verse 4 and 6, which those verses go into the elect, and then those that died that live again, which would be the other nations. But you got to know, if the other nations is coming back, even the 2/3 coming back. But they will come back into the kingdom as Israelites, since all Israel shall be saved. When the elect are saved, the rest of the nation of Israel, even the other spirits, are going to come through the elect, starting with the elect men. Because each day, a man gangs with 1,000,000 sperm. And you can go look at that. Go look it up. How many sperm do a man get each day? Right? You get 1,000,000. So he's going to be bringing forth those children again. Right? So now, let's deal with the judgment of the 2/3, which we already quoted. I just had to speak on that. But this is Zechariah, the 13th chapter. Dang, time is moving. Time is moving. This is Zechariah 13 in verse 8 to 9. It says, 2/3 of the people in the land will be cut off and die, says Yahweh. 1/3 will be left in the land, and I will bring the group through the fire. Oh, Salaki, this NLT, I'm getting caught up. Verse 8 again, in the KJV, and it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith Yahweh, 2 parts therein will be cut off and die. That's the 2/3. But the third shall be left therein. That's the elect. Dealing with the 144,000, the elect of the elect. And then the 1/3, the great multitude, Revelation 7 and 9. And I will bring the third part through the fire, and will find them as silver is refined. Right? This is the first resurrection. And will try them as gold is tried. They shall call on my name, and I will hear them. I will say, it is my people, and they shall say, Yahweh is my power. Those that get beamed up, they're a part of the first resurrection. Those that get destroyed are the 2/3. Plain and simple, straight to the point. Right? Let's go to Amos, the 9th chapter, in verse 10. The Lord is doing what he did with Noah over again. If y'all true, you gotta 1 Corinthians 2 and 14, you gotta have spiritual discernment to understand. History merely repeats itself. He's not doing, oh, Noah, but the Noah and the sons and the wives are the example of the elect. The 144,000 and the 1/3 accumulate, which is the great multitude, the other men, women, and children that get saved on this side. Amos 9 and 10. It says, all sinners of my people shall die by the sword, which would say, the evil shall not overtake nor prevent us. Right? And that's what the 2/3 and all these other nations. Oh, the sword, the sword and the evil won't overtake us. But guess what? They're wrong. Because it's already set, it's written in the scriptures. Isaiah 46 and 10, the Lord is going to do his pleasure because he declared the end from the beginning. It's already set in stone. Nobody on the earth is going to be able to hide from the wrath of the Lord, especially dealing with the wicked and the 2/3. This is Ezekiel chapter 20 and verse 38. And this is what it reads. It says, and I will purge out from among you the rebels and them that transgress against me. I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn, and they shall not enter into the land of Israel, and ye shall know that I am Yahweh. Right? And this can go in two because we know that the 2/3, of course, they're going to be sifted out and destroyed in Babylon and Israel, wherever place that they at, however that works. But then you have when we with Yahweh Shai and Yahweh Shai bring and we come off the chariot, right? And the lands that you win is gonna be rebels that bump against what Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah established, and they're gonna be sifted out too. They're gonna be put unalive, right? The rebels are gonna be purged out too, even in the time when we go into the wilderness. History merely repeats itself, right? So these show the destruction of the unbelieving Israelites on this side. So now let's deal with the point of the first resurrection only for the elect. So only the elect is getting the first resurrection, right? The 144,000, the 1/3, which when you even go into Revelation 7 and 9, they call them the great multitude, right? This is Revelation chapter 20 in verse 4. It says, and I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahweh Shai and the word of the Most High, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither have received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands. And they lived and reigned with Hamashiach 1,000 years. Right? So this would be uh the part of the 144,000 that actually get beheaded, the men. It's going to be the men, just like how the apostles are going to be the men that get beheaded for the witness of Yahweh Shai, the word of the Most High, which is from Genesis to Second Maccabees, Genesis to Revelation. Those that didn't worship the beast, the image, or take the mark in the forehead and the hand, and they're going to reign, which we understand even with those, when you go to 1 Thessalonians 4:15-17, who else is going to be with the Lord? Even those that's going to still be alive when Yahweh Shai returns, when he comes on the earth. So even those that die in the name of Yahweh Shem Shai for this ministry, or even those that died before even getting persecuted, like brothers that died in the faith while teaching, like Dan Yala, and the other brother, I forgot his name, and he was in the faith. That just recently happened, right? They're gonna come with Yahweh Shai in return, and they're gonna be with Yahweh Shai and part of that reign, and the rest of the 144,000 and the other elect. Verse 5. But the rest of the dead live not again until the 1,000 years were fulfilled, right? The rest of the dead is talking about the other nations, right? Because it's going to be the war of Armageddon, right? World War III, or War of Armageddon, right? Armageddon, right? Which is really World War III. Simultaneously, Ezekiel 38:17-19, where Israel going to be bombed and destroyed, and then America simultaneously is going to be bombed, because even their allies and all these nations, starting with Russia, is going to be pointing all their missiles here. In other parts, probably in the world, is going to be hit too, but the main destruction is Babylon and Israel, right? And throughout all the other nations, all them that died on this side from the other nations is not coming back until the 1,000 year is finished or fulfilled. That doesn't mean it's still going to be some of the other nations that's still going to be on the side, because you got the elites, right? You got the elites of Esau. You got some of these elites that's hand in hand, right? Because even the angels of that dragon or the devil in Revelations 12:7 and down, right? Those angels that's helping that devil is the other nations, right? They're allies, or the other nations. Because when Yahushua come, they're gonna all turn and fight against him. But all the elites is the ones that's giving the order right now. So they're gonna be giving the order to the army vets, and they're gonna be in the bunkers, right? This is the first resurrection. This first resurrection, which those that's reigning with Yahushua until that 1,000 years fulfilled, that's only the elect, 144,000 in the great multitude, the 1/3. Everybody else from the other nations that get consumed on this side in the 2/3, they're not coming back until that 1,000 years finished. Blessed and holy is he that have part in the first resurrection, which is the elect of the elect and the elect. On such the second death have no power. We read that in Revelations 2 and 11. But they shall be priests of the Most High and of Hamashiach, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. So these elect, that just goes back to Revelations 20 and 4, right? And they're going to be priests. We're not going to be teaching one another, which is in Jeremiah 31, right? And even in Ezekiel, we're not going to be teaching one another. The Israelites ain't going to be teaching one another. And we're not going to even be teaching the 2/3 that come back, because they're going to be in the knowing. We're gonna be priests and teachers for the other nations, so that they can be taught our ways, right? Let me see. I don't. Yeah, you dropping those verses, but I don't know what you going. What's the point of dropping them? What you talking about? Let's go to Wisdom of Solomon. Let's go to Wisdom of Solomon, the 3rd chapter. Lord willing, y'all catching this. Lord willing. And again, if it's too much for you and you busy, you can just turn off the live and you can probably watch it again later. This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 3, verse 1 and 9. And I just did a lesson on this on my YouTube channel. I just did a lesson on this. From verse 1 and 9, this goes into the elect. It says, but the souls of the righteous are in the hand of the Most High. St. John 10, nobody can pluck the sheep out of the hands of the Lord, and there shall no torment touch them. In the sight of the unwise, they seem to die, and their departure is taken from misery, right? Because the elect understand they're going to go through trials, persecution, or they might have to go through death, just like we just seen in Revelations 20 and 4. For though they be punished in the sight of men, yet is their hope full of immortality. So those that's truly of the faith, Revelation 20 and 4, when that get fulfilled, they already know what time it is, because salvation is in the end. The Moors, the real Moors, is Israelites, but we're not talking about them. This topic is not about the Moors. This topic is the 2/3. The 2/3 is not part of the first resurrection, but they will come back in the kingdom, right? After everything else is fulfilled for that time period, right? It says they're going from us to be utter destruction, but they are in peace because they're going to be with the Lord. The real Christians were called Hebrew Israelites. They were either called Jews. You had circumcision Jews. Of course, you had Gentile dispersed, scattered Israelites, right? The whole Bible, or when we deal with the law, statutes, and commandments, is a custom, a culture, it's a belief, it's a religion only for the Hebrew Israelites. That was their faith. That was their system. Anybody that is not part of the 12 tribes, that did not pertain to them. Thou sayest, Acts the 13th chapter, verse 1, when it was calling Simeon a Christian, when you look up the word Christian, it called him a black Christian. A Christian just means a follower of Yahushua, right? So yet is their hope full of immortality, and having been a little chastised, they shall be greatly rewarded. For the Most High proved them and found them worthy for himself because they were tried. Because you're saying a lot of shabba dabba ding dong, you're going to be in timeout. See you later, buddy. Verse 6, as gold in the furnace have he tried them and received them as a burnt offering, right? Because for the elect's sake, this is a trial, this is a test to see if they're going to endure to the end, even though they will. And in the time of their visitation, they shall shine and run to and fro like a spark among a stumble, right? How they're going to shine? Because they're going to get that glorified body through Yahweh Shai. Philippians chapter 3, verse 21. And they shall judge the nations, starting with the 12 tribes of Israel in Luke, the 22nd chapter, starting with the 12 tribes of Israel, and because the 12 apostles come out of the 144,000. The 144,000 is the government on Yahweh Shai's shoulder, right? Going into Isaiah 11, the 11th chapter. It says, and have dominion over the people, and their Lord shall reign forever. Who is that Lord? Yahweh Shai. And they that put their trust in him shall understand the truth. This is why we understand the doctrine, because we trust in Yahweh Shem Shai. We trust the teachers that he put in front of us to tell us, don't be lazy in this thing. Go search your words, go do this, go watch lessons, and then go read the verse, right? And they're constantly, if you have the right understanding, do lessons. And guess what? If you wrong, you're gonna do a lesson, a brother might watch it and he might correct you. And if you really trust in the Lord, you're gonna trust in a brother that's correcting you in sound doctrine, and you're gonna fix it. Yo, this man is supposed to be in timeout. Let me do this. Okay, we removed him from the channel. It says, and they that put their trust in him shall understand the truth, and such as be faithful in love shall abide with him. For grace and mercy is to his saints, and he hath care for his elect. Right? I just did a lesson on 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 3 to 11. He cared for his elect so much that he gave them the gift of faith, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding so they can know this mystery, right? So again, the righteous souls are in the hands of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. Now let's get Daniel, the 12th chapter. This is Daniel chapter 12 and verse 1. It says, at the same time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to the same time. That time is speaking about Jeremiah 30 and 7, the time of Jacob trouble, right? Really, the 2/3 is going to have it the worst, right? And of course, you other nations, you're going to be consumed in it too, right? Because Esau's destruction or Esau's downfall is connected to our salvation. Like our salvation is connected to his destruction. In order for us to get salvation, he's going to have to fall, right? And this is going to be the worst time, and the Lord is going to send Michael, the archangel, on behalf of the elect. And at the same time, thy people shall be delivered, which is the elect. The elect is the Lord people on this side, right? It says, every one that shall be found written in the book of life. Those that are written in the book of life are only the elect. Because those that are written in the book of life are those that are getting the first, that's going to be in the first resurrection, right? It says, and many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life. That are those that died in the name of Yahweh Shem Shai that are going to wake up to everlasting life, right? Then it says, in some to shame and everlasting contempt. Who is that? Some to shame and everlasting contempt. Who is that? Because if that's going to be the Israelites. The 2/3 are going to have everlasting life. They're going to have eternity. They're going to be permanently living. The other nations ain't going to be permanently living, because they're not going to have a glorified body. That Ezekiel 36:24 down, they're not going to have a new spirit and a new mind, right? Only the Israelites are going to have immortality, and they're going to be like Yahweh Shai and never die. Only the elect, the 1/3, are delivered at Yahweh Shai's return. But after that time period, right? After the time period, just like the other nations, after that 1,000 year period, they're going to, a lot of the other nations are going to come back in that 1,000 year period. All of Esau, which we see in Obadiah 1, I think the 18th verse, they're all of the Edomites, the so-called white men and women, are going to be destroyed and removed and vanquished. And all the other nations are going to have ease, where they're going to all go to their land, which was told to them in the book of Genesis, where the descendants of Japhet, they all got their little land portion, right? The descendants of Ham, they all got their portion. The Ethiopians are going to go back into their lot in their land. Every nation is going to go back into their land that the Lord have given them. That's why the nations are blessed through their inheritance of their land, right? But the Israelites, those that come back, they're going to wake up into shame and everlasting contempt from ignoring the prophets, misusing the prophets. Some of these women that didn't even listen, they're going to come back. The children, these damn YNs, right? So mercy promised to all Israel, right? Mercy promised to all Israel. This is why the elect is making on this side, because it was already mercy for them from the foundations of the earth. They were predestined to get it on this side. The others, they're going to get it after that judgment, which is the second death. What was the first death? The flood. The second death is the nukes, right? So after the kingdom is established and 1,000 years are complete, the rest of Israel will return through the loins of the elect. So the men, they're going to be getting boogie. And we're going to go back to fully walking in the law. And one of the laws is to be fruitful and multiply. One woman is not going to satisfy that fulfillment. Men are going to have multiple because they're women. Women were made for men. We're going to, all the men of the Lord, majority, that really all the men of the Lord, are going to be like Solomon. They're going to be fruitful, but we're going to all be in righteousness, right? Well, women was only created for man. It wasn't just created just to sit there and not be married. All the women, all women was created to be for man, right? When you look at the word kingdom, kingdom means kingship. And this kingship is going to be under Yahweh Shai Hamashiach. So let's get Romans, the 11th chapter. This is Romans chapter 11, verse 25. It says, "For I would not, brethren, that ye should be ignorant of this mystery, lest ye should be wise in your own conceit, that blindness in part is happened to Israel, until the fullness of the Gentiles come in." Right? The fullness of the Gentiles is right now with Esau. All the nations ruled in their time. Esau was ruling in this time, in the time of Yahweh Shai and after. Then they fell, and now they came back to fulfill that lot in Daniel the 7th chapter, the 8th verse, because this last kingdom is a part of the fourth beast in Daniel 7 and 7. And so all Israel shall be saved. So even after the fullness of the Gentiles, the first resurrection, when the kingdom is established, after that 1,000 years fulfilled, so on and so on, the 2/3 is going to come back, right? As it is written, there shall come out of Zion a deliverer, and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob. He's going to first do it to the elect, because they're going to have a glorified body when all of that is set. When they make love to their sweet lady, every child that come in the kingdom is going to have a fresh, new, fresh mind. A fresh mean new, right? It's just refreshed, a fresh spirit, right? It's like when you play in the game, you get respawn. So now you back to life. Your health is 100%. You got the same. You got your money and all that. You coming back into your lot. But guess what? What is the lot of the 2/3? They're gonna wake up to everlasting contempt and shame. But all sins, wickedness is gonna be removed. They're not gonna ever sin again, just like the elect that got the first resurrection. For this is my covenant unto them, when I shall take away their sins. So all Israel is part of this covenant, even those that died in the wilderness, all those multiple times when they left Egypt. They came back on the earth, and they were supposed to enter into the rest. But the real rest is when Yahweh Shai returned, where it's the kingdom on the earth. And guess what? We had a little portion. guess what? Israel is going to expand to the four waters from the river Euphrates to the Nile River. That's all our portion, and we're going to rule the whole earth and the unknown lands that wasn't seen, and we're going to rule above the firmament. Now that's a little too heavy for all of y'all, right? So let's go to Hebrews, the 8th chapter. Hebrews chapter 8 in verse 8, it says, "For finding fault with them, he saith, Behold, the days come, saith Yahweh Shem Shai, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah." Right? So when Yahweh Shai laid himself down, St. John 3 and 16, he died for the whole nation of Israel. But St. John 17 and 9, he only prayed for the elect. He didn't pray for the world of Israel. So the two-thirds didn't get prayed for, because just like he told Peter, he said, Satan want to sift you out, but I prayed for you. And Peter was the rock. So the elect, Yahweh Shai prayed for, because they're not going to be removed from the 144,000 to the other believers, which consumed the great multitude. That's the southern and northern kingdom. Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt, because they continue not in my covenant, and I regarded them not, saith Yahweh Shema Shai. This is this everlasting covenant. For this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith Yahweh Shema Shai. I will put my laws into their mind and write them in their hearts, and I will be to them a power, and they shall be my people. Guess what? The elect, the elect don't got it written in their minds and their hearts. Soon as that happened, it's already established for the two-thirds. Because when they come back, it's gonna be, as soon as the elect got it written in their minds and their hearts, the rest of Israel that come through the loins of the men, right, through sex, right, they're gonna have it written in their minds and their hearts. That should not be hard for anybody to understand, right? When you go into Jeremiah, the 31st chapter, it's saying the same thing. And it got re-talked about in the book of Hebrews. Jeremiah 31. This is why all of y'all that always go to the New Testament, you got to understand the Old Testament to fully understand the New. Just reading this, saying the same thing. Do we really got to? Yeah, I'll just read. I'll read verse 32. Right? You can read 31. It says, "Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the land that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break, although I was a husband unto them, save Yahweh Shema Shai. But this shall be a covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, save Yahweh Shema Shai. I will put my law in their inward parts and write it in their hearts, and will be their power, and they will be my people." As soon as you get that glorified body, is already in your heart, because now you're immortal. You have a glorified body. Some people say, oh, Yahweh Shai gonna be teaching us everything. Nobody got 100% truth. You a damn lie. He gave you the scriptures, so you already have 100% truth. You just need somebody to guide you in the scriptures. But it's certain things that wasn't put in this Bible, like certain things Yahweh Shai did, things that Yahweh did, and other things, because your knowledge is gonna be beyond the limit of this world. All right, so let's just let's just deal with what's in the Bible. "And they shall teach no more every man his neighbor." We're still teaching. The two-thirds ain't listening. So when we get in the kingdom, we're not going to have to teach a two-third. That's why it should be simple for you to understand. "And every man his brother, saying, Know Yahweh Shem Shai." Because when the two-thirds come back, they're going to come back in their right sense, and they're going to know, damn, I was doing this. This was the truth. Romans 8 and 18. Damn, you saying all that suffering was this? They're going to be in shame, like, dang, I chose money, I chose nudity, nakedness, immorality, being a whoremonger, rather than serving the Lord. They're going to know all the things that they have done. That's why 2 Ezra 16, it says, "In that day, your sins will be your accuser." The two-thirds going to have it worse in Jacob's trouble. That's why it's called Jacob's trouble, because it's directed towards Israel. But who's going to really get the butt whooping? The two-thirds. "From the least of them unto the greatest of them." Wait, hold on. Hold on, saying, Know the Lord, for they shall all know me, from the least of them unto the greatest. The 2/3 is lesser than the 144,000, but whoever gets saved on this side, they are the elect. Of course, the 144,000 is the elect of the elect. The elect means the best of its kind or the best of its class. If you go to Romans 11, when it says the election have obtained it, election means selection. So whoever make it on this side, they were selected to get it. So the least in the kingdom is the 2/3 that come back. Come on. And right now, the 2/3 is the least out of the nation of Israel right now on the earth because they're of the world. They're the least of this nation. Isaiah 1 and 3. Two dumb animals know they master, but Israel don't consider. Only the 2/3 don't consider. The elect is going to come in this thing because it's predestined for them to get it. From the least of them unto the greatest of them, saith Yahweh Shemashai, I will forgive their iniquity, their wickedness, and I will remember their sins no more. But you will, because you're going to have the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding already embedded in you. You having a glorified body, you're going to be in the know, right? Yahweh Shai knows everything. He don't know the time he coming back. If Philippians 3 and 21, it says, who's going to change your veiled body into his glorious body? That means you're going to have a glorious body like Yahweh Shai, and you're going to be in the knowing, having immortality. Come on, man. You're going to be a man is going to be a God on the earth. Come on, man. Let's get Isaiah 45 and 17. Isaiah 45:17, it says, But Israel shall be saved in Yahweh Shai, first the elect, and then later on the 2/3, right? Because as soon as the elect is saved, the rest of the nation eventually, through the loins of men, through sex, they come back. And with an everlasting salvation, which that is given on this side, when Yahweh shall return, ye shall not be ashamed nor confounded world without end. That's why even in the kingdom, when the 2/3 is shame, we're just like what you do on the earth. You comfort your brother. It's okay, sis. In the kingdom, you gonna give him comfort. It's okay, brother and sister, man. You were just stubborn. Guess what? Israel is never gonna end because they're gonna be immortal. It's just gonna keep going and going. Now, Genesis saying we gonna die because if we gonna have sex, it can't be immortality. They're taking away from that because now you're taking away from the power of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. We haven't even got to heaven yet, and you saying what the Lord can't do. He said he's going to give us immortality. He said we're going to have a glorious body like Yahweh Shai. The glorious body that Yahweh Shai got, he can't die. That's plain. He can't die, let alone your stature going to be higher. It's bugged out. I'm not about to believe in that. I'm going to believe that in the kingdom of heaven, you saying we die on this side, then we get in the kingdom, we going to still die on that side, but we just going to live longer. Man, I'm not hearing that. I'm not believing that. You putting Yahweh in a box, and this man Yahweh created air, and you can't even see it. You can see the wind moving trees, but you can't physically see wind. This is Ezekiel 37, verse 23. Neither shall they defile themselves with any more with their idols, nor with their detestable things, nor with any of their transgressions. But I will save them out of their dwelling places, wherever we have scattered four corners of the earth, wherein they have sinned, and will cleanse them. So shall they be my people, and I will be their power. And David my servant shall be their king. Shall be king over them. And they all shall have one shepherd. And they shall also walk in my judgment, and observe my statute, and do them. And they shall dwell in the land. They shall dwell in the land that I have given Jacob my servant, wherein your fathers have dwelt, and they shall dwell therein, even they and their children, and their children's children forever. So who is the children's children? Those is the children always is stemming from the 2/3 and the other spirits the Lord created, because we're going to be dropping children like hotcakes, right? You said 66.6%, which is the 2/3 that's going to die on this side. We're bringing them back through the loins of men back on the earth, right? So their children and their children's children forever, and my servant David shall be their prince forever. Moreover, I will make a covenant of peace with them, and it shall be an everlasting covenant with them, and I will place them and multiply them, and I will set my sanctuary in the midst of them forever. Right? He said we're going to multiply. How do you multiply? Some of the, oh, we ain't going to have sex. You don't understand the scriptures, man. My tabernacle also shall be with them. Yeah, the dwelling place. I will be their power, and they shall be my people. And the heathen shall know that I, Yahweh Shemel Shai, do sanctify Israel, purify, cleanse Israel. He did it spiritually, and then look at us physically, because we're gonna have a spiritual, physical body. When my sanctuary shall be in the midst of them forevermore. Come on, Israel is gonna be a high mountain, right? We're gonna be higher than America, right? This Isaiah 60 in verse 21. It says, thy people also shall be all righteous. Thy people also shall be all righteous. From the greatest to the least, from the greatest to the least, to the least to the greatest, they're all going to be righteous. Doesn't matter what time you get in the kingdom, right? But you want to be a part of the first resurrection. What's the point of living right now if you ain't striving to be part of the first resurrection, right? Salaki. Again, it says, thy people also shall be all righteous. They shall inherit the land forever. The branch of my planting and the work of my hands, and I may be glorified. A little one shall become 1,000, and a small one a strong nation. I, Yahweh Shemal Shai, will hasten in his time. So, if the 2/3, how can you say the 2/3 not coming back? And it says a little one shall become 1,000, and a small one a strong nation. How is these little ones becoming 1,000? Because it's going to be sex in the kingdom under the sun, right? And our domain, these bodies, our bodies was created to have, love, to, to do those things that the Lord created us to do, right? The Lord ain't taking those things away, right? That's a part of how you live. That's a part of what men and women do, right? Think about it. Can y'all still hear me? Put a 1 in the comment section. Can somebody hear me still? Put a 1 in the comment section. Can anybody hear me still? Because I just said a lot. Okay. If you follow along and you getting edified, put a 7-7. Because that's the whole point, to be edified. Okay. So now let's deal with this. This is another one. When you go into like reincarnation and shame, which we already brought that out. Salaki. Yeah, we already brought that out. So this is Isaiah 60 and verse 22. It says, a little one shall become 1,000, and a small one a strong nation. I, Yahweh Shemashai, hasten it in his time. Now, just to prove that this again is another form of reincarnation, when we go into, let me just get this, in Ecclesiastes, the 12th chapter, verse 7, it says, then shall the dust turn to the earth as it was, and the spirit shall return to the Most High who gave it. This is period. This means at any time when we die on the earth, from all the way from Adam all the way to now, if you died, right, your flesh goes in the earth, your flesh is corrupted, it, caves in and all that extra stuff, and then your spirit goes to the Heavenly Father. So now in the kingdom, if we ain't gonna never die, when that time is fulfilled, especially the 1,000 year reign, right? The Lord is sending back those spirits of the 2/3, and it can like say of me, I'm having 15 children, whoever they may be, whatever role, whatever lot they in, son, daughter, 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 son, son, son. Those spirits is gonna go into that person, go into that person, go into that person. And guess what? They coming back, right? Because this is the place where you live in righteousness. Now, let me get this other one because we already brought it out. We already brought it out. Second Ezra, the 14th chapter, in verse 35. It says, "For after death shall the judgment come." Right? What happens? You go to the spirit world, to the Father. When we shall live again, and you sent back to the earth, and then shall the names of the righteous be manifest. Right? So when Yahweh Shai beam up the elect, they're going to be manifest. They're revealed. Oh, snap. That's him. Right? And the works of the ungodly shall be declared. So all those that was taking that in, trying to take MOTB, those that was of the world, right? You're declared. And guess what? Now you got a missile. You a 2/3. So now you got to wait for the elect. And guess what? You're going to be in the spirit world waiting. The same how right now, somebody right now is a child is being born in the world right now. So however that time frame work between the third and fourth generation, right? So we already read it earlier, but let's read it again. Daniel 12:2. Basically, the wicked Israelites will rise to shame and everlasting contempt, right? Let me just read it clearly because that's just a point I got. Daniel chapter 12. Oh, Salaki, I don't know why I did that. Daniel chapter 12 and verse 2. "And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, and some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. The wicked Israelites, which is the 2/3, will rise to shame and everlasting contempt." This means that they'll be in the kingdom, but in lowly positions compared to the elect. What did Yahushua say? The least in the kingdom is going to be greater than John, what he was on the earth, because they're still in the kingdom. Being greater than John is way better than the other nations. The 2/3 is still part of the nations. They're gonna be eating well. They're gonna be dressed well. That man that's the 2/3 is still gonna have a wife. He's gonna have wives too, but he's gonna be the least, because the elect, they're gonna be celebrated, especially the 144,000. The 144,000 is specially picked by Yahweh, given to Yahweh Shai. Right? They're gonna be renowned, celebrated, praised, right? Because they're going to share in the air of Yahweh Shai. Yahweh Shai gets celebrated. Yahweh Shai is ruling the other nations. So the elect is going to rule the other nations. Even the least in the kingdom going to rule the other nations. But the elect is going to be celebrated, like Michael Jackson, the Beatles, Prince. Now, you sisters that's listening, how you got a husband, your husband is going to be like Michael Jackson and the Beatles, right? And it's already named what women that the Lord is going to give them is already set, right? In Jacob's trouble, in the wilderness, and in the kingdom. It's already established. And he's going to be celebrated and praised. And even you women, right? Those women that was considered wise on this side, that was really playing a role, just like those sisters that have a memorial of being righteous, calling their husband Lord, right? In the kingdom, you're going to be known for your lot, man. Right? Let's get this last one, and then I'm going to close. This is Isaiah 66, verse 22. It says, "For as the new heavens and the new earth," like Revelations 22 or 21, right? 21. For as the new heavens and the new earth, new means of fresh, which I will make, shall remain before me, save Yahweh Shemel Shai, so shall your seed and your name remain. So in the kingdom, your seed and your name is going to remain, right? It says, "And it shall come to pass that from one new moon to another, and from one Sabbath to another, shall all flesh come to worship me, save Yahweh Shemel Shai." right? Zechariah the 14th chapter. Even the other nations gonna have to come up to the high mountain to do tabernacle, and if they don't, they're gonna have what is it called basically a drought, right? Which is no rain, right? Famine, right? It says, and they shall go forth and look upon the carcass of the men that have transgressed against me, for their worm shall not die, neither shall their fire be quenched, and they shall be as abhorring unto all flesh, right? And this is just going into the second death, right? Isaiah 66 verse 24 is going into the second death, right? Which is the ICBM missiles that's coming from continent to continent, right? Let's look at this one. Wisdom of Solomon 4 verse 18. They shall see him and despise him, but the Most High shall laugh them to scorn. They shall hereafter be a veiled carcass and a reproach among the dead forevermore. Revelations 20 and 4. And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death. Especially why the elect on the chariot for appointed time. Psalms 126, verse 1 and 2. We're gonna look at it like it was a dream, like, oh my goodness, that was a dream, and we're gonna be laughing, right? And y'all, and whoever the 2/3, you're gonna be burning down here, man. But guess what? When all that is said and done, the flesh and your spirit feel it, right? Your spirit is going back to what it said in Ecclesiastes 12 and 7. It's going back to the Heavenly Father. Where's the verse where he said your spirit is never gonna go back to the Lord? It's gonna stay there, right? People say, I don't see a verse with a 2/3. The Lord is not, to regular people, the Lord not speaking plainly. That's the reason why you go precept upon precept, line upon line. Let alone, you got to have the Spirit of the Lord to have discernment, right? What's another form of mercy? All them people that came out of Egypt in Exodus 32 and said, this is the golden calf that got us out of Egypt. The Lord let the earth swallow them. The Lord let the serpent bite them. The Lord let multiple Israelites die in war. Guess what? They came back. Mercy. Make it make sense. Even what's his name that betrayed him? Judas. Don't you know he kept coming back on the earth and his lot? He's back on the earth, right? And his main purpose was to betray Yahushua. Guess what? When he come back in the kingdom, guess what? He's going to remember his lot, right? But when we get in the kingdom, we ain't going to never die no more. So that's why anybody that was a 2/3, you're going to remember it forever and ever, the things that you have done. You know? This is why, like when you playing basketball, football, to be first string, you got to show out, right? Work hard. Like I did in this lesson in 2 Timothy chapter 1, I believe, verse 10, right? In the NLT, you want to work hard to prove to the Most High you one of those that are calling and that are chosen in the end. Like, right? Make your call and election sure. Only the elect doing that. If you don't make your call and election sure, you are damn 2/3. Your mama, your auntie, your uncle, your wife, your wives, your sister, your cousin, your niece, your nephew. Who gives a damn? If you not fit in the picture of the elect, you gonna be part of the second death. Right? So we want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. And again, the 2/3 will be destroyed on this side, and they will not take part in the 1,000-year reign, right? Which is part of the first resurrection. But after that period, they will be brought back through regeneration in the kingdom, and they'll still be Israelites under the covenant, but they won't have the same glory as the elect who overcame, right? And that glory is the praise. You're going to be well known for your achievement of overcoming the world and being obedient and submissive to Yahweh Shem Yahushai. That's why and I understand it even more. That's why I understand being a celebrity on this side is bullshit, because it's only for appointed time. It's only for appointed time, right? Immortality, right? And of course, the 2/3, they're going to have immortality, but you're not going to be renowned. You're not going to be celebrated, right? I got to get this real quick. This is 2 Corinthians chapter 4 and verse 18. It says, while we look not at the things which are seen, only the 2/3 doing that, But at the things which are not seen, only the elect is doing that. And I'm talking about the real sincere and diligent. And I'm just saying, I'm not talking about the man, but through the spirit, I only see the men of Great Millstone that are sincere in the affiliates and those that are Lord willing, like-minded, speaking of the kingdom, speaking of immortality, speaking of spiritual powers, speaking about the chariots and flying to other locations, right? Everybody else is talking about, let me cut a Christian. Oh no, you haven't even seen a chariot. Oh, we ain't gonna have immortality. We ain't flying in the chariot. You got it up, man. Y'all don't have the real imagination, man. Because children have amazing imagination, right? Yahweh Shai said we're gonna do better things than what he did. This man got beamed up and he left the atmosphere. Don't you know even greater things than what he did? We're going to be traveling. He said, I go to a place and prepare for you. The kingdom is going to be established down here. So how are he preparing something for us? He's going somewhere to prepare it. Y'all really don't know. He said, in my father's house is many mansions. A mansion is a dwelling place. So in creation, in the universe, I'm just going to say creation because Yahweh is creation. So Yahweh created other things. You are slow-minded if you think the earth is it. Oh, I don't think the earth is it. I think it's a moon. I think it's a sun. I think it's stars. And that means it's other creations. It's other places to go in the Lord's creation. You freaking bugged out, man. This is 2 Corinthians 4 again, verse 18. While we looking at the things which are seen, but at the things which are not seen. For the things which are seen are temporal. That's what the 2/3. They're in love with things that are temporal. But the things which are not seen are eternal. Come on, man. And the things that are outside this earth, the Lord created it to be played with, to enjoy. That's why in Romans 8 and 18, the kingdom that's about to come is about to be beyond measure. You don't even know. That's why you can't go too deep in the water, why you can't go too high in the air, because it wasn't meant for this body to do all that extra stuff, right? But the brother put, before we end, the end has come. Shalom to the brother. Shalom to those that are sincere. And Lord willing, that brother watched this video that was asking that question. 2nd Esdras, the 8th chapter, verse 62. These things have I not showed unto all men, but unto thee, and a few like thee. Come on. And through the Spirit, who is the few? The elect on this side. That's why their imagination is beyond this world. Like one body Yahweh Shai, they used to believe in the chariots. Now they don't. Right? They say they not chariots. When Yahweh Shai was doing miracles, these same fools said, oh, that was a metaphor. Right? Then you got IUIC saying when the bombs drop, is a portal is gonna open. And the 2/3 gonna burn forever, but the other nations gonna come back in the kingdom. Then that means Yahweh has mercy on the other nations and not mercy on the 2/3. When Esau made an image, a false image of Yahweh Shai and walked around and said this was the savior. Now Jake, yeah, they say they the Messiah or they do this, but they never deceived the whole world. Not once, right? They didn't make a Charagma device to mess with your DNA, right? Because if you did some real research, which I got videos on it, every creation DNA is connected to Yahweh. But who really belongs to Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai? The elect. The elect. So when Esau put the Charagma in you, he's going to put a barcode on you so it shows that you belong to him. Just like when they create, do I got it on here? No, I probably don't got one on here. Right? So things that you got, it got a dang barcode on it because somebody put their brand on it. Or like, right, you can't sell nothing. You can't sell nothing with that certain brand to identify as yours. Just like a tag. You got a tag on your hoodie, right? I can't take this hoodie and put my own style and say this is my hoodie. I could say I customized this hoodie, but this brand is not mine. We're branded through the spirit in our DNA by Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. And guess what? All creation, all spirits from all nations, y'all all belong to Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. When you go to second Esdras, the 39th chapter, verse 21, it says all things have their purpose. A tree, air, a ant, a roach, a rat, a Edomite, a Elamite, everything has a purpose in its creation, right? Yeah, they waxing worse and worse. And Genesis is no damn better, saying that the lake of fire is a damn river. It's a river turning into a lake, right? So, Lord willing, y'all was edified. I want to give double honors to the elder apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well through the Spirit. And a mighty shalom to the hopeful elect in the same Spirit, teaching His word and believing His word. Lord willing, as a whole, you're all continuing sound doctrine and in the same Spirit. Shalom to the Aqua, the believers of His faith and His truth. Lord willing, you continue to pursue your lot, being a loving and silent and virtuous wife, and continue to believe in His truth and His faith. Lord willing, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, have mercy on the other brothers and sisters that's not in the faith. Till next time, Shalom, Abba Ball. And remember, the 2/3 are not having a taste of the first resurrection, but they will return in the kingdom. So you got to choose. Is you striving to get to be part of the first resurrection or have a taste of the second death? Shalom. Shalom.